across the pond in America, what's going on. Basically, 4 police officers were involved in a brutal murder of a man live on TV for the world to see. And America, the way its mentality is, because when America brought black people to America, they brought them to be slaves and slaves only. Never envisioned them being free and to be able to interact and control and be part of society. They were there to be slaves and slave only. And America's mindset is so heavy and arrogant, where they're prepared to let the country burn and destroy rather than prosecute and allow one man justice and prosecute these 4 people. And that's quite scary. That's very scary.
People are talking about how black men feel. We're only ever able to hear it when it comes to the pain or the anguish, when they'll get people and allow them having that platform just because it's news. I don't feel, this is me, I work for the media, I don't believe the situation and the incident that happened would have got as much coverage if there was other things going on in the world. It's because there's nothing else to that's why the world's turning around and looking at it. It's not the fact that this is going to be the last case that happens. It's because there's nothing else for them to report on. So every news outlet, every paper, every social media outlet are now saying, well, we'll jump on this and cover this story. They're wanting to create campaigns to say, are our black men okay? But what are you doing for the community? What are you doing to give these people a platform to talk? So I want to put that to you and just say, tell me if you can, and open and honest as you want to be. How do you feel knowing that you are an endangered species, but without the rights of an endangered species?
Well, it's uncomfortable because, we're all of the age group to be old enough to know and remember and still feel that oppression, where every time you walk the street, you don't know what's going to happen when police pass you and they look back as you walk into a shop, whether it be a supermarket, a retail store of whatever description, and someone will just happen to pop up next to you, fixing the shelf, or ask, can they help you? You have to say, what do you mean? I've just walked in the shop. Why would I need help? I've come to look around. If I need something, I'll let you know. And all these different things, you've got to put up with you the whole life, walking down the street, someone crossing the road or clutching the bag. I remember walking across the street, I had a 5-year-old son in one hand, 3 bags of shopping in the other, and I heard the car door click shut. But I looked, the lady was like, you could see, and she felt embarrassed by it that I'd got onto it, and I thought, I looked at my son and done like that, lifted his hand up, lifted my shopping up, and I just mouthed at her, you cheeky blah, 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 because it was just unbelievable, and that happens all the time. And although you'd almost come numb to it in some ways, it hurts. It's hard times, and these things, as you say, has happened before, will go on. It's a focus for the media, and it's just, it must be horrible when you've got youngsters and you've had to explain, I've done that to myself, where I'm having to explain about racism to a child who's 7, 8, and, and them type of ages. They should not even have to consider these things. They should be wondering about, what they're going to play with, when's the next toy, can I have this, can I have that? And,
it's Lawrence, you've both got young boys.
Like 12 now. And he's politicised anyway, because that's our tradition in our family. You have to pass on this history of struggle. So he's very aware, even though he's very light-skinned, But so he's aware, and he's very opinionated, and we sit and watch the news together. He explains to me his perspective, and we bounce off each other, and we have some good debates. But I think it's very important that we educate our children from a young age to be aware of these phenomena where black people are concerned. That's one of the reasons why I don't think our young people as politicised as they should be, because I certainly got that from my mother. But I think one of the reasons why we don't have organisations today is a lot of other people, even some of the most militant activists themselves, didn't pass down that tradition to the next generation. So I make it a point of discussing these types of issues with my son.
Yeah.
He's 6, and he's 6, and he's seen some stuff. He's seen stuff on YouTube, like young black girls in America getting battered by police. He asked me about the hoodie thing because we were, again, I know Earl talked about before about sports, but I think it was through basketball, and he's seen something on one of basketball players. This was years ago. So he asked about Trayvon Martin, So he's aware of certain things. Again, like what Patrick said, it's a horrible comment in every way. Do you know what I mean? We watched a little bit of the Malcolm X documentary with me the other day on Netflix. And it's, to explain who that person was and why what happened is tough. Do you know what I mean? I learned a lot of stuff, I suppose, through music. So I didn't really, and then I self-learned everything. Even though my parents are considered very pro-black, they brought us up also to not feel like that had to be a bag we had to wear all the time. So when I went into it, it was quite shocking to find out how bad it was. And today, seeing what's going on around the world, it's scary. I think as a father, knowing that, specifically because obviously it's a majority young black males that a lot of these things are happening to, but knowing that your son could be treated like that and the people who do it could get away with it is like, it's scary, like, because no other group, obviously, there's always, in every country, there's always some kind of thing, but like no other group, no matter where they go around the world, could be subject to something like that and still be seen as the problem. Do you know what I mean? And it upsets me a little bit then that, and I get the protest, but there's some of the riot and stuff or the looting stuff, I think sometimes allows some of the platforms to start changing the discussion, changing what the conversation should be about. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a tough conversation, but it's a conversation that is inevitable. That if you're raising black children, you're gonna have at some point in it. So,
do we feel okay?
What's mad? Again, this might be, I don't even think about things before I say them, but this is normal. I feel like that all the time. I'm always in a vulnerable state. Always in a vulnerable state. You can cover it and you can, read as many books or, bulk up as many. You can be great, you know what I mean? But, I think no matter what, no matter how rich we are, where we are, whatever, these perceptions of what we are and what we could potentially do on a negative it's always going to be there. Do you know what I mean? You know that when you walk in the room at any given point, people will have a perception of you. You're a minority as well. So they'll always have a perception of you. And you've got to, people talk about a double consciousness. I think it's like even more that you've got to deal with sometimes because, you've got all the stuff within our own, I hate to say race, but within our own, race, communities, whatever, in terms of hierarchies and suspicions and the tribalism and all that. But, that whole thing of going, I used to travel to America quite a lot, but like the thought of me going there and going, imagine if I went there, I could actually be killed, even though I could be doing exactly what I'm told to do, unarmed, that's scary. Do you know what I mean? So I think the vulnerability, Patrick mentioned, black people are more likely, or people of colour are more likely to get COVID-19. And, I look at it and go, it's just mad. It's like none of this is surprising. We've been at that rung for a while where we're the most exposed, we are the most vulnerable. Do you know what I mean? So it's not surprising and it doesn't make me angry. I don't know.
What I find confusing is, especially being on social media a lot, is people, even my age group, making statements, male and female, that they're shocked that this is still going on. Or wow, and I just think, hold on, where have you been for the last, 20, 30 years? Because as you say, we've lived this experience all our lives. We know these things go on. They're reported all the time. And obviously not even on the scale of the amount that are happening, because America and the brutality, and obviously even what goes on over here, everything doesn't always make the news. Because just before this broke out, we had the images of the guy in Manchester being tasered in front of his basically baby. You know what I mean? For no real reason, and constantly tasered, being told to, to comply and put his hands behind his back while you're pumping electricity through his body, as if you can stay still while that's happening, and then again, and you still see it as a problem even while that's happening, when it's there for everybody to see. And it just finds me, it really confusing me why people will say that they're shocked and they're surprised at things that have been going on, over here for a long time, and over America since its inception. You know what I mean? Black people have been getting brutalized in America since, Europeans first that put on there, and after brutalising the natives they found there, and then bringing Africans there and brutalising them, and they're still doing it to this day. So why people would be shocked at that, who I know, and I think, well, you know better than that. It's not like you're a complete stranger who say, well, okay, you've lived some type of strange, sheltered life where, you know, you're shielded from reality in the outside world. But these are people I know born and grown in Liverpool 8, so they face a lot of these same pressures that we're talking about. And then they use terms like the shock, you know.
I'm not okay. And I'm not okay, not for an issue that's directly affects me as an individual, but I'm not okay because I don't see us as a people, particularly black men again, responding to crisis in a way which makes sense. Like the usual response to any existential crisis towards any particular group is to organize. But I do not see us doing that. So, you know, Jewish people after the Holocaust, they organized to ensure that those things would never happen again. What we're very good at doing is articulating the problem, but not trying to come up with any solid solutions. It's like we revel in being able to drop down a great theory about why we're oppressed, but we don't put that same type of energy and effort into helping to deal with that actual oppression. And that's something that I think is quite particular to our group. You know, we've been in this country, we've been in, like, we're talking about America, we've been in America longer than anyone, but yet whenever you look at black people anywhere in the diaspora, they're always on the lowest rungs of the social and economic ladder. Now, you might want to blame other people for that, but if you're saying that it's your enemy who's ensuring that your situation is like that, you can't complain about your enemy's actions, because your enemy is your enemy. You know they're not there to do you any good, so don't be complaining about that. Organize so that whatever the enemy does to you doesn't affect you. And that's what we don't do. We spend loads of time outlining the problem and spend no time on the solutions. And that's what I really think that we need to address if we're going to be okay.
Definitely.
I'm going to go now.